Hi, so in this video we'll be looking at price elasticity of demand, or as it's often abbreviated, PED. So we'll just go through our definition and what this actually is, our formula for calculating it, and then run through an example just to make the idea a bit more concrete. So what do we mean by price elasticity of demand? Well, this is a measure of how the quantity demanded of a good or service responds to a change in price. Now, I often see this definition which says sort of like of a good, as I said, but it's important to note that this can also be a service, and it's just the quantity demanded of anything and how this responds to a change in price of that good or service. So this sort of definition that we have here is going to be very important and very useful just to know this off by heart, really. So whenever we get a question on the price elasticity of demand, whether it's an essay question or a short answer, we can just write this down in our exam and we'll get a mark for this definition, and the same is true for any other sort of elasticity. If we can just define it in a very simple way like this, then this is going to be a good start to our answer. The next thing to note would then be the equation, and this should have a division here like this. I'm not sure why that didn't, but yeah, so our PED equation is going to be this. So it's the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price. So we can see that our definition really ties in to this equation here, that we're looking at how our quantity demanded responds to a change in price, with the equation just being percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. So if we know our definition, we should know our equation, and vice versa. The key thing to note here is that we are talking about percentage changes in quantity demanded, and this is something that will catch a lot of people out, say in multiple choice questions, where one of the options will often be just dividing by, say, just the change in units of quantity demanded, and then the change in, say, pounds or dollars in price, but that is wrong. We have to always calculate the percentage changes in these things. So always remember that our PED, and indeed our other elasticities that we'll look at, we need to calculate the percentage changes in our quantity and our percentage change in price. So just to make this a bit more concrete, let's look at an example. So we've got a pretty simple example here where we just have the price of a car, and the price is going to increase from £30,000 to £50,000. And this in turn is going to make the demand for this car fall from an original value of 3 million to now only 2 million cars are being demanded in our economy. So our question is, of course, to calculate the price elasticity of demand, and how do we go about doing that from this information? So what we've got here is our very simple two-step process for doing this. Step one is to calculate the percentage changes of both our quantity demanded and price. And then once we've got those percentage changes, we can just substitute them in to the PED formula, and we'll have our answer. So we should be able to calculate percentage changes, but I've got the equation there as well, and for some reason, again, I've forgotten to put the division symbol in there. But if we want to calculate a percentage change, we can do it like this. We take the new value, or the final value of our price or our quantity demanded, subtract the original value, divide by the original value, and then multiply by 100 to get a percentage. So let's use this equation to do step one, which is to calculate the percentage changes. So our quantity demanded, we're going to start with the original value the new value is 2 million minus the original value, and then divide by the original value, then multiply that by 100. So we get that our percentage change in quantity demanded is minus 33.33 recurring percent. So it's fallen by a third, which we can obviously tell by just looking at these numbers that it's fallen by a third. And note that we can just use 2 and 3 here instead of 2 million and 3 million, because everything's still in the same units, so that's fine. And then our percentage change in price, we have gone from 50,000 to, or we've gone from 30,000 to 50,000, we divide by the original value, and again we'll get out that our percentage change here is an increase of 66.6 recurring percent, or it's increased by 2/3. So we have that our price has increased by 2/3 and our percentage change in quantity demanded has fallen by 1/3. So we can substitute this into our price elasticity of demand formula. So we remember that this is percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price. So the percentage change in quantity demanded, remember that is on the top. So we have minus 33.3 recurring on the top and plus 66.6 recurring on the bottom. So our price elasticity of demand is just minus 0.5. So a couple of things here. Note that this is just a number. Our price elasticity isn't going to be a percentage or anything like this. It is just a number. Our PED is minus 0.5. We also need to be careful in remembering that this is a negative, and often we just take the absolute value of this, so we might just say that the price elasticity of this good or service, this car, is going to be 0.5, but we shouldn't take that for granted. It is negative 0.5 because our quantity demanded has fallen and our percentage change in price is positive, or our price is increased, so we have a negative number. And this will often be the case, that our PED is negative, because if we think about it intuitively, an increase in price will usually decrease demand for a good. Not always, and there are a couple of instances where this won't be the case, and we'll look at that in a future video, but usually this will be a negative value. So we'll keep that in mind. Now, this number doesn't seem to mean a lot to us right now, but we actually, from this, can deduce quite a bit about the demand for the good. And we'll cover that in the next video, where we discuss what we mean by elastic and inelastic demand, as well as unitary elastic demand. And we can then also draw on a diagram what this will look like. So that will round up this video, so please do leave a like if it was at all useful. Make sure to check out the playlist for the next video, where we'll talk about those things and also the past videos which have led up to this video. And of course, make sure to subscribe to add some Econ to your subscription feed.